On today's episode of Airing Dirty Laundry, we're going to be chatting with Laura to talk a little bit about some designer gripes. So, Laura, what laundry do you have to air?
The first one I want to talk about is the distance that is between product design and content design. You see a lot of lorem ipsum in, handover screens, and there's just a real kind of tendency and safety to just slap it on there and say, we'll think about it later. We can figure out,
the afterthought.
Marketing. It's an afterthought, exactly. Language is what defines the user experience. I would love to see more product designers taking on the interests of content designers, thinking about the role of language in the interfaces that they're designing, thinking about how to shape a user experience. Because placeholder copy means placeholder user experience. It's just, it's
so
not
true.
right.
So true. I know that you've got a bit of a gripe around how job descriptions are in.
Okay, well, it's just that every single...
A pause in the fold. This is a big moment here.
It feels like every single job description for a product designer says, looking for a world-class product designer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's no design Olympics. We don't know who's actually world-class and who's not. But also, so if you want a world-class designer, you need a world-class budget. The term world-class designer is actually quite lazy on behalf of the hirer. Maybe they just don't really know what they want. They say they want someone who is a jack of all trades, but they're amazing at every single one of them.
Yeah.
You're better off building a team where you know exactly the skills gap that you're looking for, and you're intentional with filling that.
So I know there's one more point that pisses you off. I don't know if that's too strong a term. Irks you, annoys you.
Irks me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the notion of everything having to be mobile first. Where are our users? Are they using their mobile? Are they out and about? Are they on a laptop? Are they using some other device? Let's talk about that first. If you've got something like a really complex table, a dashboard that, has loads of controls, realistically, you can't do it justice on a tiny screen.
This has hopefully been cathartic, and I'm sure many other designers will agree that these things also bug them too. So thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much. Alrighty. I'll take my
these things belong to you, yes before
please.
I forget.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Take this away now.
Today we're going to be talking about designers airing dirty laundry, and in particular, Paavan, we want to hear what dirty laundry you have to air. What's bugging you about the design industry at the moment?
Let me tell you, Hugo.
Where to begin?
My biggest gripe is it's 2025 and designers still aren't using auto layout.
And why is that a problem?
Now, I'll be honest, I don't think it's a problem because I'm a massive Figma fanboy and I think everyone should know every feature of Figma and use it in the perfect Figma way.
Sure.
I mean, I do think that, of course. But I think using auto layout is symptomatic of knowing how your design will eventually work in code, right?
Okay.
On websites, you've got Flexbox or CSS Grid. For iOS design and Swift UI, you've got HStacks and VStacks. And you've got all of these layout paradigms about the way things are gridded and put together. And I think if you're not using auto layout, you're not understanding that, or you're not considering it. And you're just kind of putting all of that work on your developers to be hey, here's a random page of absolutely positioned frames. Turn this into something that works and is responsive and good. Yeah.
Why should they be doing more of that aside from...
That's kind of
understanding the medium makes sense, but maybe the amount of time it takes to prepare these things.
That's kind of asking why should designers care about what the final product experience is, right?
Fair point.
No, but this is exactly what gets me angry. We're user experience designers. We design the experience a user has of a product or a service or a website, and so many designers just bundle something off, kick it over the fence, and say, "Hey, not my problem."
What sorts of things or mechanisms do you set up to ensure that the output meets your expectations?
I just write really long lists with checkboxes on a GitHub ticket, and I think lots of people kind of just will do 1 or 2 rounds of QA and then call it quits because they're embarrassed to ask for more, more changes. They want to get on with the designing work. They don't want to piss off their front-end developers. And I think the best front-end devs I've worked with have been like super, proactive about suggesting design changes, proactive about saying, hey, the way that you've designed these states doesn't really match with like how our backend system works or like how something's implemented. Why don't try this? And then, also just caring loads about the details, making sure all the like typography and border radiuses and stuff is pixel perfect.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks,
Great
Hugo.
insight. I'm sure a lot of people will resonate with what you shared. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
On airing dirty laundry, we have YuXin today, who's going to share some of the frustrations you've been having. So please, come in, air it out. What are the challenges that you're facing at the moment as a designer? What's kind of bugging you?
Well, one thing that's bothering me is designers feeling like they need to be perfect before they can share anything.
And why is that a problem?
You spend too much time perfecting your designs, but you don't get it in front of real people for feedback. And then it's just a waste of time when you realize the idea or the concept doesn't work.
And how do you personally find the right balance between delivering something that feels right, and this is often very elusive, and the more like scrappy approach that's needed? Where do you strike that balance?
So I think there's a whole process. At the start, when you're trying to come up with an idea or it's uncharted territory, you're trying to find a new idea for a product or a feature, then I think it helps to be scrappy then, because you don't need things to be perfect before you can test a high-level concept with your customers, who are ultimately the people you're trying to make this product or a feature for. When you need to be a bit more polished, I suppose, is towards the latter half of that process. Once you've validated an initial idea, that's when you can start, refining the designs a bit more, like putting on the bells and whistles, just like really user testing that to make sure it feels right.
Obviously, a lot of the reason why designers end up having this fear about being scrappy is a combination of factors, but you see it, I guess, in self-confidence, issues to do with experience, and those are things that you obviously build over time.
I used to be one of those designers, probably when, I had very little experience, where it really stressed about the UI and the visual design of things. And ultimately, I've worked on lots of projects where I spent so much time trying to do that up front. And then when I showed that to other people in my team, there were lots of questions raised about how this interaction works. It doesn't feel like this is the right idea to go after. And that's when I learned that actually it's far better to, maybe pick a few ideas, map them out. Don't focus so much on the visuals, just get them out there and get some feedback.
Takes the weight off your shoulders from feeling like, oh no, if I'm delivering something scrappy, I'm going to be too heavily judged by that, because the ideas become this sort of combination of different people, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I didn't realize that. I used to be very precious because I thought that design was my thing, and that
the art and craft of design.
Basically, a very traditional approach to design. But I think at the end of the day, because I work now in a team of one, I realized that other people have good ideas too.
I think that this is something that a lot of designers will feel like they can resonate with.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
Perfect.
That's it.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
That's okay.
On airing dirty laundry today, I'm going to be chatting with Karl to talk a little bit about some of the gripes that he has about our current industry. What is currently bugging you?
Vibe coding.
Tell me more.
So, it's just the term vibe in general also stresses me out, but vibe coding is this new thing that's kind of shown up recently, where the goal is to try and get from an idea to monthly recurring revenue as quickly as possible. It's what it feels like.
Yes.
Right?
MRR.
The thing I'm seeing is basically this reliance on these AI coding tools as a way to get you from the idea to solution without really truly understanding how it works. It just winds me up.
The line between designers actually learning some of the aspects around craft is a big part of that.
So I learned to code in the early days of CSS, HTML, breaking websites, trying to look at the source and understand it, recreate it, and then kind of manipulate it to do what you needed to do. That kind of curiosity and that eagerness to understand it is gone. There's nothing wrong with the tools. I use the tools. But you can use the tool as a starting point. You can use it as a reviewer. You can use it as a sense checker. My problem is with people relying on them 100%.
partly what's linked to that is the fact that services are sold off the back of it, which
Yes.
I know is also a gripe that you have.
Yeah, so a lot of people are kind of jumping in on how quickly can I sell an idea. A single person can come up with an idea, design and build the idea all in one big go. But they can charge an extortionate amount and people will pay it. And good for them. But for me, as someone who likes to spend time truly understanding the client, the problem, really getting into the details, being artistic as a designer, being creative, thinking deeply about it, it just drives me mad. And I'm losing out to things that I would consider to be really low quality from both a design and build perspective. We need to get back to designers being curious and trying to learn and understand the why behind things. And as tools kind of abstract away more of the need to know the whys behind how stuff works and why stuff works, we're kind of seeing people also, I feel like, move away from trying to or wanting to learn the whys behind stuff.
Well, this has been super insightful. I'm sure a lot of people agree with this statement. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
I
you.
believe these are yours.
They are. Let's get them packed.
Thanks very much. Today, we're going to be talking with Ruth about airing some design dirty laundry. So, Ruth, tell me a little bit about what you're struggling with. What are the challenges that you're facing and what's kind of bugging you about it, I guess?
I just don't think that our design process is fit for purpose anymore.
And kind of in what way? What part of it is not fit for purpose?
So we
I'm
all
struggling
learn.
with this.
I'll take that
okay,
one.
Okay, fine.
We all learn
Yeah.
the double diamond,
Yeah.
know, define, design, deliver, disrupt. That is a process that we learn, we live and breathe it every day. Now with AI and tools coming into the mix that we're not familiar with, the double diamond was not set up for stress testing some of these tools, and therefore I just think that we need to adapt.
A lot of people are concerned, I guess, about AI being more fallible and not necessarily giving us concrete answers, but maybe that's not the problem.
The design process was not initially set up to kind of really scan and stress test it,
Right.
the use of some of these tools. For me, it's about us taking back control. What do you want AI to mean for you? What do you want it to mean for your job? And figuring out a place for it in our process that we can take and use to our advantage. Does it make me quicker? Possibly. Does it get me to the right answer quicker? Yes. And therefore, does that mean that I can spend more of my time in the craft and designing the things that I really love and making sure that I'm creating those scalable foundations?
What do those foundations start to look like? What are some of the things that you've kind of been thinking about?
I think there is a huge opportunity to take away some of the pain and time that is spent on research.
Okay.
We can do research super quickly using like agentic AI social listening and then getting that reporting in to actually understand what is it customers are thinking and seeing and feeling, and then building hypotheses quite quickly, and then using tools like for rapid prototyping so that I can iterate on one thing 50 times, speak to hundreds of thousands of users potentially to really stress test.
Yeah.
And then therefore when I get into designing the product or service or solution, I know that I'm designing the right thing and I'm confident that my efforts are spent designing the right thing in the right place.
Yeah, I can see that that's been like a huge frustration for designers for a while. It's like the lack of an opportunity to do research, and now that's
insight.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ruth. I think these belong to you.
Wonderful.
And yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
sure loads of people will relate to a lot of the things that you shared today. So yeah, thanks for sharing.
Great. Thanks.
Cheers.